myself, Dr. Pratima from KTHM College, Nasik. And our today's topic on MB 331 Medical Microbiology for SYBSc semester first. In this, we are going to study one bacterial pathogen named as Staphylococcus aureus. This organism, as you can see in this figure, is cocci shape organism and is present in clusters like this. This organism, Staphylococcus aureus, we are going to classify here. We are going to study morphological, cultural characteristics of this microorganism. Then pathogenesis, that is how this microorganism cause various diseases in human being, that we are going to study here, as well as various symptoms after disease production by the microorganism. So before starting this pathogenesis, classify this microorganism first. So as you know, this organism belonging to Staphylococcus, phylum of which is Firmicutes. Family of this organism is Staphylococcus and class Bacilli. This organism, Staphylococci, derived from the term Greek Staphyli, that is a bunch of grapes, as their arrangement is typically in the form of a clusters. It is called as a Staphyli. It is gram-positive organism. When you stain them at that time, they appear purple in color upon gram staining. These are quite hardy organisms surviving non-physiologic conditions, which is able to survive this microorganism presence of various environmental stress. This organism include a major human pathogen as it is present normally on our skin. It is also called as a skin commensal. About this organism, you can classify it in some other way also, because some of them are coagulates. So the organism Staphylococcus aureus producing coagulates, they are once in special category, and the main and important genus is aureus. Sorry, not genus, species Staphylococcus aureus. While coagulase negative staphylococci are also there. Examples of them are Staphylococcus epidermidis and Staphylococcus saprophyticus. As you know, these microorganisms are gram-positive, but they are facultative, anaerobic. Size of this organism ranges from 0.5 1.5 micrometers. They are non-motile, they are non-flagellated, they are non-motile. Some other characteristics of this microorganism, they are usually encapsulated one, that is one slime, one capsule is present around them. Some other characteristics of this microorganism, that is they are present as a normal flora of human and animal, mainly present in nostrils as well as on the skin. They are also called as a opportunistic pathogen because normally also they present on the skin, but whenever they get chance, they cause disease. They can infect human host, their carriers, then fomites or environment. They are responsible for transmission of this microorganism from one person to other. You can see in this figure as they present continuously in the nostrils, that is in the nares, on skin, repeated washing required to microorganism from our palms. This organism grow readily on most bacteriological media. So in aerobic as well as in microaerobic environment, they can grow well. Their colonies on routine laboratory media like on nutrient agar, they are round, raised as well as a glisten. You can see in the growth of Staphylococcus aureus on nutrient media. The colonies are yellowish in color, but when you provide some different media to this microorganism like mannitol salt agar, colonies appear golden yellow in color. They are usually deep golden yellow colored colonies. and they are circular on mannitol salt agar. They are 2 to 3 in diameter, very smooth, shiny surface. Some are opaque colonies, and whatever the pigment produced by the microorganism is non-diffusible one. That is, the color of colonies is because of a pigment production is unable to penetrate within the nutrient media, the media beneath it. You can see in the growth of organism on mannitol salt agar. This agar is reddish pink in color, and on this media you can see here golden yellow colored colonies. Staphylococcus epidermidis unable to form such a type of a colonies as they are considered as a non-pathogenic organism as compared with Staphylococcus aureus. This organism utilizes mannitol as a source of a carbon, fermentable carbohydrate for the microorganism. There is acid production by the organism because of which the phenol red indicator present in this mannitol agar changes its color from red to yellow. Some other characteristics of this microorganism, that is the yellow color, that is the pigment produced by microorganism, is nothing but a staphyloxanthin, gives that gold color to the colonies. Some other media can be used for cultivation of this microorganism in the laboratory. Second, as you know, first one is mannitol salt agar. Second one is tryptic soya agar or a TSA. At 37 degrees Celsius, you can see as in this figure, there is a large golden yellow colored colony by Staphylococcus aureus, while that pearl-like colonies are not dark yellow, they are of a Staphylococcus epidermidis. Some other media which can be used for the cultivation of this organism is like Urea burtani, that is agar. Second one is brain heart in agar. On this brain heart in agar, Staphylococcus aureus gives again yellowish colored colonies. You can use birds Parker's agar also. This is moderately media for isolation and for differentiation of coagulase positive staphylococci. Here you can see in this figure growth of Staphylococcus aureus on this weird Parker's agar. This media, as well as a egg yolk containing media, they are used for cultivation of this organism. When this organism grow on all this media, at that time there is a utilization of a sugar present in the media and there is a acid production, but there is a no gas production. So this characteristic, the identification of organism in the laboratory. Most of the strengths of this staph, they are lipolytic in nature. That is, they can, when they grow on egg yolk containing agar, at that time there is a dense opacity observed around the colony. They can produce phosphatase enzyme also. For this, you have to incorporate one substance called as a phenolphthalein diphosphate. When you cultivate this microorganism on blood agar, at that time, you can see there is a zone of hemolysis around the colonies of Staphylococcus aureus. Here in this figure, there is a zone of hemolysis around each and every colony, and the type of hemolysis called as a beta hemolysis. Some other biochemical characteristics of organism. This organism is one enzyme called as a catalase. The second one is a urea. They can utilize citrate as a sole source of a carbon. Staphylococcus aureus only produces coagulases, while others are negative for that. They are unable to produce gas when they grow soft sugar. They can hydrolyze gelatin. There is a no H2S production by the microorganism, but it is included in the biochemical test for the microorganism. They can able to produce some enzymes that are responsible for destruction of RBCs, hemolysis, and so is positive. They are unable to produce indole. When you inoculate them in tryptophan containing media, there is a no indole production. Then they are negative for motility, a cocci-shaped organism present in clusters without flagella. As they produce large amount of acids, methyl red test for this microorganism, it is so positive. They can reduce the nitrate. They can utilize with fermentative, but without gas production. They are oxidase negative, unable to produce enzyme oxidase. And as you know, most of them are positive for the pigment production. When you allow them to sufficient like glucose, there is acid production in lactose, slightly late utilization of it, but it is utilized by the microorganism. Maltose is positive, mannitol is always positive, mannose positive, but they unable to utilize sugar like xylose. This is all about biochemical characteristics. Now I'll see regarding by this organism, that is pathogen. Here pathogenesis starts with how this microorganism enter our body. So here first part is modes of transmission and portal of entry of the microorganism. So they are transmitted from person to person. These bacteria can live on an inanimate objects for long period. As you know, they can survive environmental stress, can survive the hardy environmental conditions like slightly higher temperature or lower temperature. At the same time, pH, when they enter in the body, they are highly susceptible, they are highly resistant to the conditions such as a higher percentage of acids as well as salts. This can be included in the virulence factors of this organism, that is their survival, the presence of number of types of environmental stresses. The infected patient is often served as a carrier. That is, they carry Staphylococcus aureus not only their nares, their nostrils, but also on their hands, that is on fingertips, as well as on their hand. These are normally present in the anterior nares and during inhalation and exhalation. There is a continuum of this microorganism in the form of a droplets in the air. Other carriers are, can say, the board in transmission of infection as well as for outbreak of disease or milk and milk products. If they are cooked and left at room temperature after contamination with staphylococci, there is enough time for the toxin production for this microorganism. And upon ingestion of such a toxin containing food, always chances of intoxication, food poisoning the person. The source of infection is usually food handles that food, milk or milk products and meat products get contaminated in the handlers itself, suffering from certain infection by this microorganism. So in this, there is the entry of organism, and upon their entry, chances are of different types of infection based on of which is preferred by the microorganism for entry. So usually the lesions produced by these microorganisms, they are localized one, initially localized one. The enzyme coagulase, the main and important virulence factor for this organism, inhibits phagocytosis and it forms a wall of a fibrin clot. Staphylococcal infection can classify them as cutaneous infection, and lastly, toxin. We'll start with this deep infection are like osteomyelitis. Osteomyelitis Here there is a involvement of our bones or the bone marrow, and here upon their growth, this part is the that is inflammation of the bones, nothing but a osteomyelitis. Then second one is a sinusitis. As you know, sinuses which are located, yeah, the, as well as in um, the head region, there is an accumulation of a pus in the later stage by this microorganism. Then tonsillitis, inflammation of a tonsils. So one example of a deep infection by this microorganism. Pharyngitis, that is inflammation of a pharynx. Pyogenic pneumonitis, involvement of the lungs. You observe in the person having. Then there is a empyema. Empyema pus is present in the lesion where it is dead, and it is highly painful condition, and also it is very difficult to treat. Then there is a endocarditis, that is inflammation of a endocardium by the microorganism. And lastly, meningitis and septicemia. That is involvement of a central nervous system observed, and because of which there is a septic formation in the body, so septicemia. So, some cutaneous infections are also occurred because of staphylococcus, that majority of them are related with pyogenic, in that pus-filled blisters are important. Which first one is a carbuncle, second one is a pustule, that you can include furuncle also, types of a boils, then abscesses filled with again pus, then there is a chances of a formation of a styes, of a eyelids, conjunctival infection, then impetigo observed on the facial region as well as on arms as well as on back. Then majority of the times cutaneous occur in hospital environment. Hospital environment, patient is admitted because of a burns or wounds present on their body, and here this microorganism causes nosocomial infection, that is hospital. In that they mean contaminate wound as well as a burn, and now there is a pyogenic formation because of a entry of Staphylococcus aureus. This organism is highly resistant to number of disinfectants as well as antibiotic. Severity of the disease is when this organism affects wounds as well as a majority of burns present on the patients are mainly burn wards, and there is always a major threat by this microorganism to cause infection. After this, toxin mediated one. So here, this organism produces toxin. Staphylococcal food poisoning occur because of an infection by this intoxication by this organism. This is mean associated with the contaminated food. The next one is the scalded skin syndrome. And lastly, toxic shock syndrome. All are because of a massive toxin production by the microorganism, either in first case, that is in case of a staphylococcal food poisoning, they present in the food, they produces abundant toxin, and upon ingestion of which there is an intoxication. While the second one, scalded skin syndrome and toxic shock syndrome, because of a toxin production in vivo condition, that is upon entry of organism in the bloodstream, just to different parts of a body, but at the same time they produce this toxin, because of which such a type of a septicemic conditions occur in the patient. So here in the pathogenesis, uh, we have to study some symptoms also upon infection by the microorganism. If it is cutaneous infection, as you know, various types of boils appear on the skin, and one of them is furuncle. Furuncle is nothing but a one large boil It is present on superficial skin and it develops mean at the base of this base of hair, that is the hair follicle. It may occur in the sebaceous gland, which again associated the skin only, the hair follicle, or it may enter in the sweat gland. Here, it one complication of acne vulgaris, and it gives rise to furuncle. This furuncle appears like this, as you can see figure furuncle, which is nothing but the erythema and edema having area. Erythema, reddening of that area. Edema, there is a slight swelling, and in the center there is some exuding material you can observe containing large number of abundant Staphylococcus aureus with a small amount of a pus. This is initial symptom of a cutaneous by the Staphylococcus aureus. This infection can spread from furuncle with the development of one or more abscesses. Can spread very easily to the skin and in adjacent subcutaneous tissue. This lesion is now known as a carbuncle. That is, when severity of furuncle increases, of that boil increases, you can call it as a carbuncle. Carbuncle occurs most often on the back of the neck, but may involve other skin sites also. It is nothing but a cluster of boils instead of a one single uh, cutaneous lesion. A large area of a body may affected by this, and it is highly painful pus filled blister or a bump. In this figure you can see such a type of a carbuncle, which is very serious lesion, because after forming such a type of a carbuncle, this organism may enter into the bloodstream and reaches to different parts of the body. So upon their entry to the bloodstream, can call it as a bacteremia. There is some other type of a symptoms also observed, like there is a increase in the temperature, febrile illness, uh, there is a fever or a pyrogenic condition appear in the patient. Not only this, this organism may infect eyelashes and rise to common infection of eyelids, which is called as a stye, 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 that is infection of eyelids. Not only this, if there is a chronic furunculosis, that is for repeated or for a repeated period, if there is an infection by the same Staphylococcus aureus, there is a increase in the severity as well as a complication by the microorganism. This is chronic infection associated with number of factors. They are called as a predisposing factors. In that, host immunity when hampered, when a lower status of immunity observed in the patient because of several reasons. In immunocompromised patient undergoing some immunosuppressant therapy, you can see such a type of a chronic furunculosis, mainly observed in a diabetic patients also, or the patients having some congenital defects of a polymorphonuclear leukocyte function. You can see such a type of furunculosis, large number of boils may present on facial region, on abdominal region. Next one is a impetigo. This is again type of a skin pustule. Pustule, pus is present, that boil, skin pustule. This also produces one exfoliative toxin. This is responsible for a different type of a symptom called as a plus impetigo. Plus impetigo is nothing but a one large blisters the superficial layers of the skin, and it can be considered as a localized form of a scalded skin. Means here area less involved as compared to the scalded syndrome, which mainly observed in so this is the symptom showing scalded skin. large blister and called as a bullous. This staph aureus can cause wide variety of infections of a deep tissue. They are very difficult to treat as they spread very other organs of the body. They are infections of bones, of joints, organs, as well as soft tissue. That surgical wounds also in surgical wound operation theater, that such a type of are required for the operation. And here, due to contaminated uh, scalpels, whatever the instrumentation operation, theater, chances of microorganism in the deeper body organs. More than 90% cases of acute osteomyelitis are because of Staphylococcus aureus, and also they are very difficult to drain the pus containing uh, material present in the marrow. Next, that is infection of lungs by staphylococci. It is called as a staphylococcal pneumonia. This one is a secondary type of infection. That is, when there is an infection by influenza virus, conditions are now favorable for growth of the bacteria also present in that environment. This secondary followed by influenza in the patient. At the deep sites, the organism have some tendency to localize destructive abscesses which occur in particularly on the deeper tissue. Cellulitis observed in the cellulitis is an infection of the deeper layers of the skin, and this causes a dark reddening erythema of the skin redness as well as a swelling of the surface. One is the picture showing cellulitis patient. Next infection, which is meant to occur by the toxin produced by organism, is staphylococcal scalded skin syndrome. The toxins produced as a result, as you know, staphyloxanthin, the toxin by this organism, this is mainly harmful or may cause serious complication, mainly in uh, children. And this condition features high grade febrile illness and sometimes blisters also on the skin. When that blister, which is formed on the skin, breaks, at that time the top layer of skin comes off, giving a red, oozing a red color as well as a raw surface which looks like a burn. So it is not actually burns, but it is caused by the toxin by the microorganism. In this figure, you can see the type of a patient's staphylococcal scalded skin syndrome. In sheets, there is a wall of skin observed. There is a erythema, that is reddening, and intraepidermal desquamation. This takes place at remote sites from which Staphylococcus aureus cannot be isolated. But the symptoms are, as you know, caused by this. It is easy to identify by this microorganism. Very occasionally, this symptom observed in adults, mainly the immunocompromised patient that is suffering from certain treatment of a malignancy, certain treatment of a cancers. Milder version of called as a staphylococcus scarlet. Again, scarlet related with the erythema, reddening of the skin, where there is no disclamation, no removal of a sheets of a skin on or the surface, and there is a impetigo. One is a local type of a infection, but there is a high grade called as a staphylococcal scarlet fever. Toxic shock syndrome, also because of the toxin by the organism, and this one is characterized by high grade vomiting, diarrhea, there is a sore throat, there is a rash on palms and so you can see that is, there is a sunburn like situation. There is a confusion as there is an involvement of a central nervous system. There is a muscle ache. So you can see the major symptom of toxic shock syndrome, that is erythema, reddening, as well as a swelling of the palms are affected. This organism, uh, when profuse the body, then it spreads to different parts of the body and life-threatening conditions may occur. The staphylococci, when enter in deeper body layers because of a blood circulation, then there is a chances of a septic arthritis. As you can see, there is an inflammation of a joints because of infection as well as erythema and edema. Third, there is a target or tooth by the microorganism. There is a swelling of the joints and severe pain in the affected joint, as well as there is a high grade observed. Last category of a pathogenesis is associated with the food intoxication by Staphylococci. So here, first requirement is contamination of that food by food handlers. Contamination occur, and upon entry of such a toxin containing food, there is a vomiting observed. There is up to certain gastroenteritis. There is a diarrhea in the patient 1 to 5 hours. There is no involvement of a blood circulation, and so there is no pyrexia. There is illness associated with the food poisoning. But nausea is prominent because of a diarrhea, because of a vomiting. Dehydration is one more, and because of such a type of a water loss, blood pressure, one more symptom of staphylococcal food intoxication. Recovery is rapid. Majority of the times without any treatment, just by rehydration, there is a recovery. Sometimes only problem in the elderly having some another type of a disease. All about staphylococcal food poisoning. Bacteremia is common, that is upon entry of the bacteria in the bloodstream can different parts of the body. In that period they and produce toxin, and here now called as a bacteremia because of staphylococcus. Only two symptoms are there, that is high grade fever and low BP as a sign of bacteremia. And after that, they may enter in lungs and muscles. It's all about pathogen caused by Staphylococcus aureus. So we can summarize, that is, uh, all staphylococcal infections, they are majority of the times caused by Staphylococcus aureus and not by Staphylococcus epidermidis and Staphylococcus saprophyticus, but coagulase positive Staphylococcus aureus. This is mainly found on skin or in the hairs, and it act as a opportunistic pathogen. That is, so they get chance, they cause this can spread from person to person and is highly contagious microorganism. Upon their entry body, depending upon their entry in the areas, you can see symptoms. If there is any cut or abrasion present on our skin, it is very easy for this microorganism to enter via that broken defense mechanism of the body. They enter and they cause majority of the times cutaneous injury, such as a furuncle, carbuncle, impetigo. When they enter in deeper tissue, there is a abscess formation. There is a large amount of a formed by this organism, as well as cause of which cellulitis, then arthritis, osteomyelitis, meningitis like a condition observed. Mainly in immunocompromised patient, this microorganisms causes dreadly, and here it is to control it because of its resistance or of disinfectants as well as antibiotics. When they enter via food and they contain toxin by the microorganism, you can see nausea, abdominal pain, diarrhea in the they enter in the bloodstream. At that time, it leads to low BP and febrile. All about Staphylococcus aureus. Thank you. Thank you.